Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Joined by James today, and we're going to be talking about Lucas Digne, who's just confirmed to have signed an extension to his Everton contract until 2025. James, been waiting on this one for a while, haven't we? Because it was linked a few weeks ago. It seems like Everton have sort of been waiting for the perfect time to announce it, and there's no better time than this, really. Just your first impressions, mate.
First impressions has got to be what an absolute belter of a week this has been.
It's just
the last
amazing.
5 days have just been, probably an all-time high as an Everton supporter. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating, mate. This has been unbelievable. The last few weeks, the last week or so, it's been unreal. And this is just you say it comes.
It's the cherry on top of the cake, really, isn't it?
Because that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's sort of. It did peak for me when we won the derby. That was just unbelievable. If you go back and watch the match reaction, the instant one with Paul on the channel, you can just see that I'm struggling to put it into words how happy I was. Then the stadium news got even better, and now this just to top it off. Usually we're used to Everton coming out with news like this at bad times, aren't we, to sort of make us feel better.
The blows, don't they?
Yeah, we always wait until a bad home defeat to announce stuff like this, but this has got to go down as one of the best weeks as an Evertonian. But Lucas Digne, anyway, James, this season 6 assists. I think he might still be top of the the board for assists for the. I don't know if it's just defender or just for the league in general.
Yeah.
But how good is he, and how important is he to our team?
He's absolutely brilliant. He's probably one of the most important attacking outlets in the entire team. Without him, we don't create half the chances we create. When you've got a player who can get on the end of crosses like Dominic Calvert-Lewin and players like that, you need players who can provide that kind of service into the box, and nobody does it better than him, in my opinion.
No, and you just got to look back on that point where he was out suspended for a few matches, wasn't he? I think it was after the red card against Southampton, and then also he had an injury, and we just don't seem to score as many goals. We love getting the ball into the box, and he's just the best at it in the league, in my opinion, putting the ball in the box. 16 matches, 6 assists this season, 7 last season, and in 18-19 he got 4 goals as well. So obviously he's been known for scoring free kicks, stuff like that. But he has captained the side on the occasion as well. So that's another positive to him, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he has got good leadership qualities. I mean, I think even if he's not the most vocal, he certainly leads by example. I think with his professionalism, I think he's one of the most professional players at the club. He's a very. I think some of our players can be excellent and then poor. He's one of them. He tends to generally be very good on a regular basis. He doesn't have many bad games. And, I think that's always a good... You always want your captain to be like that. I think, sort of lead by example, even when others maybe aren't performing. You want your captain to be performing. So, obviously Seamus Coleman's not going to be here for many more years. So you wouldn't be surprised if Lucas Digne's still here. Where he's signed 2025, of course. You wouldn't be surprised to see him maybe wear the armband a lot more soon.
Mm-hmm. And maybe be made club captain once Seamus leaves, which is looking like sooner and sooner now. Maybe not next season, but maybe possibly the season after. Because, Seamus has been brilliant, but Lucas Digne, it's always good to have a player with them sort of those skills, those leadership qualities. And he's definitely got it. But going forward, it's mad how important he was, because he was brilliant at Anfield. Brilliant at Old Trafford as well. Obviously put the ball in the box for the Dominic Calvert-Lewin goal. So how important is it for a player of that quality? Because it's a statement, isn't it? It's not just we're signing a player with, we want to sign this player, we want to keep this player. It's a statement, because I know there was a lot of Tottenham fans. There was word between Tottenham fans, they wanted them to sign them. Man City as well. How this is a statement, isn't it, of Everton, that we will keep our best players?
Yeah, it really is. I mean, obviously we were at a sort of point like this in Ronald Koeman's first season. Maybe we were doing relatively well, but Lukaku refused to sign a new contract And when your best players don't want to commit, that casts doubt on things. And I think we've seen numerous times now since Carlo Ancelotti joined. You know, we've had, I think, Richarlison signed just before Marco Silva got sacked. He signed a contract. Since then, you've had like Holgate, Calvert-Lewin, Keane. You know, so many of our best players have signed long-term contracts to keep themselves here. You know, I don't think you can discount the part Carlo Ancelotti's played in this. You know, I mean, he obviously,
No, definitely not.
Lucas Digne is obviously very convinced that like Carlo Ancelotti's taking us places, and that if he can see that as a footballer who trains at, you know, he trains with him every day and trains with the squad, if he can see the potential, then that should give us more belief that potential could be fulfilled.
Yeah, and obviously you can't discount the impact that Ancelotti's probably had on it. It's the promise of European football. Hopefully next season, it's blown wide open now. Hopefully that's the case for next season, is that Everton is playing in Europe, because that's where a player like Lucas Digne belongs. For me, he's got all the qualities of a player that should be playing in Europe every year. And he has been, you know, before he came to Everton, he was obviously at PSG, Barcelona, Roma, and as well, only 27 years old, I think, James. So he's definitely not finished yet.
He's at the peak of his powers, isn't he, or coming into it,
Yeah.
and he's going to be playing those best years of his career with us. You know, that's you know, great for us. You know, you look at, we've got a lot of good players who are coming into the prime of their careers at the club now, and like you just think that,
Yeah.
you know, we could build something here. Like, and Lucas Digne, by signing a contract extension for another 4 years, is like clearly very convinced that he could be a part of something successful here.
Yeah. It's crazy how times flew as well, James, because he signed in the summer of 2018. He's coming up to his fourth season. Player is, you know, he's coming up to, you know, the third anniversary of him signing. So you could tell immediately when we watched him, and I knew immediately when them that he was a, you know, signing for us. To come into the and take over from Leighton Baines the way he did. It just says it all about him. That the lad's got quality. He's got a great attitude. So I just want to speak a little bit about how good he's been. You know, because obviously it's important to look to the future for what he's going to give us in the next 4 years that he's at the club, at least. But what does it mean, you know, to have watched him? Because to me, he's been Everton's most, as you said, consistent player for a few years since he signed, and the quality's just been unrivaled that he's brought to the club.
Yeah, well, for me, we've been watching him, and I think it's easy, you know, because we haven't been in the top six to discount it, but he's the best left back in this league, in my opinion. I think, you know, and there are some very good ones as well. You know, you got the likes of like Luke Shaw's really come good. You got Robertson. I still think he's the best there is. For certainly for technical ability, I don't think there's a
Yeah.
better technical left back in the league for sure.
No, it's his left foot putting the ball in the box. He's got pace and everything to him, hasn't he? How important is he for the younger players in the team? Because I mentioned it in the 24/7 news report, which should be coming out. One at least should be out when you see this video. How important is it for players like, you know, Ben Godfrey, Mason Holgate, possibly like the likes of Anthony Gordon coming back and coming into the team? How important is he for players like that?
Oh, it must be very important because, you know, these young players need to look up to the best professionals that there is, and he's right up there in this squad. You know, too often recently we've had players,
Especially the fact that, you know, he must speak. I think he probably speaks a few languages as well, doesn't he? Playing around the world in
he's
Spain,
been to,
Italy, France, everywhere, and obviously now England.
yeah, definitely. I think also he's got a model, like I think he's like a model professional in my opinion. I think he conducts himself well. He's consistent on the pitch. I think he's good off the pitch. I think what we've had a problem with at Everton, the players who've been in their prime in recent years at Everton, like the players who are at the peak age, if you like, have always been mediocre. Whereas we've got players who maybe we signed when they were about 23, 24, and they're coming
Yeah,
into their prime now. and now they're the experienced sort of figures, even though they're still only like 27 and 28, and
Yeah, I
that's
get it.
excellent. I think
Mm-hmm.
that gives us, it's leadership, but it's not like obsolete. It's not obsolete experience like where players are on the
It's
way
not
down.
sitting on not sitting on the bench shouting from the touchline experience. It's actually leading on the pitch by example. Because I get what you mean there, James. It seems like more recently, since we've sort of been out of Europe and we've been, bobbling around mid-table. Sorry. It seems like the players in our prime either don't stay for long, the likes of Lukaku, players like that, Idrissa Gueye, or they're just not really good enough. Do you know what I mean? We signed players like,
Fabian Delphs, that's the
yeah,
one that springs
those
to mind for
sorts of
me.
players, yeah, around 28 or 29. The likes of Sigurdsson, Schneiderlin, who, and I don't want to bash on Gylfi Sigurdsson too much, but, I get what you mean. It seems like the players that we've got who are in that peak age between 26 and 29, they're the players that either don't want to stay at the club for too long or see us as a stepping stone, or just haven't got the quality.
Yeah, I think to the contrary, now with Ancelotti in charge, I think the best players want to stay for longer, which is always going to help our cause. Lucas Digne's one of the experienced heads now. He'll be 28 in the summer. Same with Michael Keane. They're like, they're they're two of the most experienced players now. Whereas when we signed both of them, they were both like considered like young up and coming players almost, or still players who had potential that they needed to fulfill. Whereas I think
Yeah.
now they're sort of reaching the peak of their powers, and you've got these kind of players now who are, I think Carlo's going to be looking to them to be the leaders of the squad, and
I
Lucas Digne's
think,
probably at the forefront of it.
yeah, I think now we can start to put Lucas Digne up there with the likes of James Rodriguez now as players that, when you want quality on the pitch, they're your two names for me.
Yeah,
We obviously got really good players in the squad now, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, players like that, but they're, when you think of actual technical quality, Richarlison can blow hot and cold at times, as can James Rodriguez, to be fair. But when you want real technical quality and you want someone who's going to impress rival fans and say, I really want that player playing for me, I think Lucas Digne has to go in that
yeah.
bracket now for me.
It's a good point that you've just made as well, because obviously I've done a few opposition view shows on this channel with like other fans of other teams.
As have I, yeah.
And the
And they
question I ask
always,
is if you'd have someone in your team, who would you
yeah.
have from our team? It always seems to be Lucas Digne, like more often than not.
Yeah, it always seems to be Lucas Digne or someone like Allen. You know what I mean? And you can put those two, those three now, because we signed some quality in the summer with those two, real ready-made quality. Obviously signed Abdoulaye Doucouré as well, who's come really good and is playing really well. And the likes of Ben Godfrey, who's looks like pennies for him now. But signing Rodriguez and Allen in the summer, they were two ready-made European stars who we brought into the club. And I think Lucas Digne is on that level now, James. It's like
Yeah,
you would
I think
put him
Lucas Digne.
as,
I'll be
yeah,
honest. I think Lucas Digne was on that level when we brought him in.
yeah,
For all the
yeah.
flaws, and maybe like Marco Silva, like obviously wasn't the best manager, and maybe a better manager would have got more out of him even then. But even when we signed him, I think he has a lot of pedigree. You look at the
Oh,
teams he played
100%.
for. I think that he was star quality then, and like you say, he even shone under Marco Silva when he was a much lower quality manager and wasn't getting as much out of other players. But Lucas Digne was always performing.
Yeah, that free kick against Watford in the last minute comes to mind, doesn't it? When he
Things like
say he
that.
does a point, yeah, and Ben Foster rolled down the floor, or there was the likes of there's the free kick at Lincoln as well, which he
Yeah,
scored. It's like he does, and when we brought him in, he did have that quality, and when we signed him, I was so excited, and I made up that one of those big money signings that we brought in has genuinely gone on to be someone that Evertonians will remember now. And he's one of those names as well that, you know, he's the sort of guy kids want him on the back of their shirt.
yeah.
You
The
put him on
fans
the
love
front of the
Lucas Digne.
stadium tour. Yeah, you put him on the front of the stadium tour. He's a money maker as well. People want to watch Lucas Digne, and there will be people coming to watch Lucas Digne. expands the club abroad and stuff like that.
Yeah, he
He's very
does.
vocal. Yeah, he's very vocal on social media with the supporters as well, which has a big impact,
Gets
I
on well
think.
with the supporters, and also you mentioned like from the marketing perspective, you're talking about. I'm saying he's the best left back in the league, but he's the first choice left back for the world champions, the reigning world champions. That's
Yeah.
not to be sniffed at.
No. And you always now, people of our age, we it was Germany for a while, but now we know that France is the best team in the world, and France is not going to get beaten. And for him to be up there ahead of, I struggle to comes to mind now with other
Got like
French.
Benjamin Mendy, Ferland Mendy.
Yeah, those sorts of players. Ferland Mendy's obviously come through at Real Madrid and's playing really well. Benjamin Mendy's obviously got the pedigree as well, but Lucas Digne is overlooked. Is looked over those two, isn't he? So, massive statement of intent from Everton to keep him at the club.
Yeah, and I think the fact that he's clearly convinced by the project now, under Carlo Ancelotti, that we are like heading in the right direction, that he wants to stick around and be a part of whatever Carlo achieves here. And, when you've got players of that quality, and hopefully we can bring in more players of that quality, this is also a statement to those kind of players who may be prospective signings for next season, who look and say, oh, well, these players want to stick around. They want to be a part of this.
Yeah, definitely. When we're going for, the likes of Max Aarons or Lucas Vasquez, who's been linked today, when these players are looking at, oh, should I go sign for Everton? They're going to look at, well, James Rodriguez likes it, Alan likes it, Lucas Digne obviously likes it a lot because he's just signed a long-term deal, hasn't he? So it's massive news for the club, and it just tops off a perfect week, doesn't it? Really, James?
Oh, it really does. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
It just keeps getting better and better. I mean, you wouldn't put it past. The next one on the list seems to be. Like, everyone's been talking about Marcel Brands as well. Like, when's he going to sign one? Like,
Do you know what? I'm expecting them to I don't know. Anything could happen at this rate because it seems like it's just Paradise City on Everton Twitter at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you can't I've never known nothing like Twitter's been like an absolute utopia for the past week.
I pull my phone out and go, I can't wait to go on Twitter because
there'll be to go on Twitter. What's getting said today
from Saturday night, or there'll be an interview, or there'll be something like that just to get you made up. And now it's Lucas Digne. It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned there Lucas Digne. He's a dead likable character as well. Like he's one of them. Yeah. I think at the moment we're putting together a team of good players, but I think we're also putting together a team of good human beings as well. Some good characters, likable people off the pitch, and
Yeah, you could see it from as well. Don't know if you've seen it, but the Rio Ferdinand podcast with Holgate and Ben Godfrey on it, and the way they were talking about the club just says, we're going places, because it's not often that we've seen that in the past with Everton players. These two young English players who have got a lot, the best part of their careers are well ahead of them. Talking about the players like Lucas Digne and like Ancelotti as the manager, and like James Rodriguez, you can tell they're genuinely excited to be at Everton, which is just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. And I think, when you have better characters at the club, like people who are better people, I think it makes it easier for us as fans to identify with them, which in turn, I think,
definitely
it makes you want to support them even more. I think they go and get behind the players, but above all else, it's the quality. It's the star quality. That's why we love Lucas Digne. Is he plays well for Everton, and he plays more consistently well than the majority of the team. So, he's one of the star men, and to keep hold of your star men, you've got to do that if you want to make the next step.
Yeah, 100%. Just to finish off, James, what's your favourite memory of Lucas Digne at Everton? So far. Obviously got a lot of time ahead of us, but
yeah, we've got 2025. We've got up till to figure out what his best memory is, it seems. But I'd have to go for the volley against Man United in the 4-0. That was like one of the few Everton moments prior to Carlo Ancelotti that I actually enjoyed in recent years, and like the 4-0 win over United.
Yeah, I think that's really nice, as well, mate.
Really nice sunny day, battered Man United. You can't complain about that. You know what I mean? And it was an excellent performance, a really well taken goal as well, showing us star quality again. Star quality.
Yeah, I think that for me, that's my pick as well. It's got to be, and yeah, it just everything seems to go right for him. You know, the occasional bad moments every now and then, but Lucas Digne seems to be one of those. I remember, I can just remember the feeling of watching. Remember the announcement video when we signed him, and it was like the drone coming down the training ground, and it was brilliant. That was one of my favourite announcement videos as well. So made up that's finally announced by the club that Lucas Digne is staying at Everton. He's signed his new deal. Really, really good news. And if it's just amazing, isn't it? Really, me and James could talk about him all night, but
we're
we'll leave it
just on.
there. Hopefully,
Yeah, we're
go
just
on,
on a
mate.
high, aren't we, at the moment as Everton fans? Just got to keep this rolling, and
Yeah,
let's help the team. Let's help the team keep it
it's
going as
amazing.
well. Like, just keep this feel good factor going. Now it's like
Oh, I hope so.
it's just something we've not experienced a lot as
Yeah.
Everton fans. We've got to like just really milk it for all it's worth. Let's enjoy this week so much.
Just for this 1 week. But
1 week.
yeah, if you have enjoyed it, make sure you like and subscribe to the Toffee Blues. Comment down below what you think of the news that Lucas Digne has signed an extension to his Everton contract. And yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.